If you want to learn how to get sales with Amazon KDP, you have to learn how to properly create a book listing that is not only optimized for a buyer, but also for SEO. So in today's video, I'm going to give you real examples from real listings to show you exactly what needs to be done to improve each Amazon listing to help it do better, get higher conversion rates, and more sales overall. All right, so let's get right into this video. And just quickly, in case you're new to this channel, Cleo and I have sold over 240,000 books on Amazon. And we also have a free Facebook group with over 230,000 members in it. And with our self-publishing Titans tools, we've helped over 300,000 authors publish their books on Amazon. So that's just a bit about us, and let's check the first book here. So to check this book, we are using the self-publishing Titans Chrome extension. This extension is really helpful for not only finding keywords and niches, but also to analyze your own listings and competitors. So here we can see that this book has no bestseller rank, which means this book has never gotten a single sale yet. So let's see what we can do here. So the title says, "The Hallowing, they came for peace, the Hallow came for them." So overall, the title is short and to the point, which is good. The one thing that I did notice here is that we capitalized the main title, but then we didn't also capitalize each of these other words. So that's one thing that you most often do see with your book titles. So that is a small improvement that could be made. And obviously, since this is a fiction kind of book, we don't usually have keywords in your title or subtitle. So having actual Amazon search suggestions for these kinds of books in your 7 backing keywords will be really important. So one way to find keywords would be to type into the Amazon search bar. Obviously, I don't know what your main keyword is. This is just a literal example. It could be totally off on this, but we just type in scary book, and then you would see all of the Amazon search suggestions. So scary stories, scary books for teenagers, and so on. And then we just want to find ones that have a decent monthly estimated search volume, have low competitors, and a goods demand and opportunity scores. So ideally 5 or higher. And then we just keep typing in different keywords until we find enough of them to put in our 7 backend keywords. But this is how you basically do it, just in really simple terms. So definitely make sure you have your keywords optimized, and if not, you can use this extension to do that. So looking at the cover looks quite good. I like the people in the front. I like the design in the background. I also like the text color and the font that was chosen. My only critique here would be that this text is off-centered. We can see here that it's really close to the left edge here, and that there's a lot of space on the right side. And then same for the author name. We can see there's less space on the left side and much more space on the right side. So that is one thing that I would fix and improve upon. So looking at the back cover, I like that we also have another image here. I'm not the biggest fan of covering up the house. I feel like showing the house fully would be a little bit nicer. So I would almost recommend seeing if we can shorten that and maybe even blending in the two scenes together. So instead of just a solid background, that it kind of goes in as a gradient, so more transparent and then into a solid color. I think that could look really nice and clean. That is just a slight suggested improvement, but overall I think your cover is nice. I think this is a good job. These are the smaller critiquing points. Looking at your description here, so we have a rather short description and we don't have any bullet points. So one thing I would really like to see is that you add some bullet points, and I'm a big fan of having 5 bullet points and having that right below the first line. And then if you're not sure what to do with your bullet points, I always recommend kind of imagining like what you would tell a potential buyer if you're trying to close them or sell them your book. So what would be the first 5 things you feel like you would tell them or that they should know about? And those 5 things should be your bullet points. And just one more thing here while we're talking about just tips in general. Since you have quite a long book, one thing I would recommend you also do is having this as not only an ebook, but also as an audiobook. And you could either narrate this yourself, or you could hire somebody on Fiverr to narrate that for you. But the reason I'm telling you to create all 4 book types is because each different book type can rank individually on Amazon for different keywords. So just by having 4 listings, you would increase your chances of success by 50%. So just one thing to keep in mind. Let's move right along here. So we also don't have any reviews, unfortunately, and I also don't see any A+ content. So since you have really nice images on the front cover and the back cover, I would really highly recommend that you add some more pictures like that in your A+ content. You can share some quotes from the book or some lifestyle images with somebody holding your book, like your dream or target audience. So if you're targeting teenagers or adults, you can have a lifestyle image of whatever age group or target audience holding your book. You can also have just the book as a 3D rendering and then other lifestyle images and more characters or images of the book itself, of the insides, just to make it more informative and more fun and exciting for a potential buyer to see even more what your book is about. So that could be really useful. And then if you're struggling with reviews, you can also go to selfpublishingtitans.com and click on the ARC review service that we just launched. There's also other alternatives you can check out, so whatever you find best for your needs. So the main thing to fix for your book is definitely keywords, most likely. So definitely double check your 7 backend keywords, double check your categories, then make these slight adjustments on the cover, add your A+ content, and then for these kinds of books, I definitely recommend that you also do Amazon ads, at least for short periods, and definitely do social media marketing like Pinterest, TikTok videos, Instagram posts, and so on, just to build your brand and really build an audience. But I do wish you the best of luck. So this is a Spanish book, and I obviously review any languages at all, totally fine. And then I just use the Google Translate Chrome extension so I can at least see what the title says and the rest of the listing. So we can see that this person has gotten some sales, but just in low volumes. So let's see what we can figure out for this book. So the title says Death Will Come and It Will Have Your Face. Obviously keep in mind that these are Google translations, so they might not be perfect. The Painter, The Journalist, Corruption and an Ending in Prague, a mystery and passion thriller. So I'm guessing that this is not word for word correctly translated, but I can get the point. But what I do like about your subtitle is you tried making it really descriptive and also getting some keywords. So we have like a mystery thriller or passion thriller, which is really great because then that only helps you ranking for those keywords in the Amazon search results. So great job on that. Looking at the cover, we do have a good image. Fine with that. I like the text placement. So overall, that's all good. The one thing which I see here is that you have a 3.7 star rating. So we have a little bit of a mix between 5 stars, 4, 3, 2, 1. The good thing is that you have a lot of reviews already. The bad thing is that 12% of people gave it a 2 star and 9% gave it a 1 star. So that would be something that I would check for. If you just click on our Self-Publishing Titans AI tool, we can also check the reviews through our AI analysis. And we can see here that it says areas for improvement. It says some readers found the pacing uneven with a slow build-up that delays key plot developments and an abrupt ending. The narrative structure and language style may confuse readers due to sudden shifts in tone and inclusion of unrelated subplots, impairing engagement and clarity. And then our Titans AI suggestion is to consider marketing the book as a literary thriller aimed at readers who enjoy deliberate, introspective storytelling and art-themed mysteries, while potentially developing a shorter and more streamlined edition to improve pacing and accessibility for broader audiences. So sometimes our Titans AI tool can be really useful, not only for improving your own books based on the reviews, but also looking at your competitors in case you want to create a similar book yourself. This is especially useful if you're doing like activity books, puzzle books, and coloring books, or some kind of how-to book, so you can figure out exactly how to make an even better book than your competitors. So this is just something to keep in mind. And in case you're new here, this is the extension that I'm talking about. So if you go to the Google Chrome store, you can just type in Self-Publishing Titans and download this extension right here. This is our brand new one that we just released some weeks ago. And it basically combines both of our previous extensions. And this is the one that we're adding all of our AI tools into it and all of our new features in general and all upgrades. And if you have any of these, you can uninstall them and just install this one moving forward. So that's just a quick tip. But moving right along here, you are getting some sales, which is obviously great. And here we can see you have A+ content, which is awesome. Here I would suggest that you update this a little bit to show you full book. Right now we're getting it cut off on the top and the bottom, but otherwise I'm fine on using that big eye. I like this big image. It's a nice image. I like that you have an image, I'm guessing, about yourself. Another image here, and then some other related books. I also like that you're showing a picture of yourself. One thing I would recommend is maybe having a picture that shows your entire face, not just covered by your hands. I think that could look slightly nicer, but well done for having an image in the first place. Definitely nothing wrong with it. And then nice for having a long description. So I think overall you're doing fine. The main thing to handle for you would be obviously the reviews. The higher your reviews, the higher your click-through rate and conversion rate will be. And then I think we can make slight improvements on your A+ content. Looking here, we have a kind of call to action and then kind of really far spaced bullet points. So here I would also recommend that you have 5 bullet points and then I would have them just below the top line or maybe below these 2 lines and come up with 5 things to tell a potential buyer about your book. And then you can have paragraphs below that. And then in case these reviews get worse and we can't fix that, I would recommend creating a second new edition and then publishing that with the reviews in mind and fixing the book interior just to make it more suitable for these readers based on what they said. But otherwise, I think overall you're doing okay. I hope that helps you, and let's check the next one. All right, so here we have a book that is currently selling. We have a pretty decent bestseller rank already. They're getting decent sales based on our sales estimates. So let's see what we can do to help them improve their sales even more. But fantastic job on really having so many sales already. So you're definitely on the right path. So let's look at the title. And the title here says Made for Each Other, a small town Christian romance novel, Grandma Mandy series book 1. All right, so I'm really big fan of the fact that we have here Christian romance novel, or even just romance novel. That's at least some keywords to have in the title, which is really good. And most high content books don't end up having any keywords in there. So I really like that you found a way to implement that in a nice way. And that by itself is already helping you, I'm sure, get not only sales, but also higher click-through rates and conversion rates, because this already tells the user what the book is about. So great job on that. So here we can see also that this is a series, which is fantastic. So for anyone doing high content books, having a series is really, really great. This could be for children's books or adult books. But the reason that is really great is because if you have a series and a person likes your first book, they're very likely to buy your other books as well, even without any ads or marketing. So book 2, 3, and 4 could all be pure profits if it's done correctly. So another strategy could be running a lot of Amazon ads to your first book, even if they're not fully profitable, but then making up the profits on the second, third, and fourth book. So that's just one more strategy for high content books. But let's look at the rest of the listing here. So we have a beautiful cover, really nice image. We have a nice blending here of the main characters and a nice sky. That also looks really nice. I like the text font. I like the color of it and the placement. So overall, I think there's nothing wrong with the cover. Not really any major improvements I would suggest. The only thing I see here, and this would be a really minor thing, is that the smaller text here is kind of hard to read, especially when it's in thumbnail views. So this could be obviously just on the Amazon search results or even more so on the Amazon app. And then someone can't really read that. And just one idea I had to make it slightly more readable is making the clouds a little bit lighter here, because romance is slightly easier to read than small town, just because it has a lighter background. So that could make it slightly easier to read. The other thing you could try is maybe making that text slightly larger, but this is something you have to test out, and this might not even be better. Just a slight thought of something that I would try. Obviously, when making a cover, you could almost make 5 different designs and test them all against each other and see which one looks the best or does the best. So this is just something we can play around with that. I like that you're saying how many reviews you have. That's kind of interesting. But one thing that we have missing here is some bullet points. So once again, really important to have just 5 short key bullet points of what your book is about. And then the other thing we don't have here at the end is just a simple call to action for someone to buy your book. So that is one more thing I would add. But the one thing I see here, which I was really happy about, is that you also have an audiobook, which is fantastic. So we have Kindle and also Kindle Unlimited, which is very, very good. So I always recommend also having that. An audiobook is fantastic, and in paperback. So you're definitely doing all the things right. And I'm sure you have a bright future. So here we can see your other books in this series. So they also look really nice and clean. So you're definitely doing things right. All right, so here from the publisher, we can see a nice image. So I'm guessing that is you. Great picture. And then here we have an image. I guess this image is cut off. I don't know if there's some way of fixing that. That'd be one thing that could be improved as well. And then here you show the other books. So the other thing you can do with the A+ content is put your other actual books linked with the compare other books feature. So that's one thing I would probably do as well, because now you're showing them, but you might as well make it so people can click on it and buy those books right on the spot. Looking at your categories, you have contemporary religious fiction, religious romance, inspired religious fiction. So that seems like you also chose good categories. And then here you added a description, which is awesome. And then here I'm just wondering if you should rather just add your own image. I feel like there could be a nice touch, because then someone could already see your image up right here. So they can feel a bit more closer to you as the author. And I think it would also have a really nice touch here. But otherwise, I think you're doing fantastic. I think your listing is great. you're definitely winning. And I think these slight little critiques and improvements could just further help you. So I hope that is helpful for you. I'd love to help you in the future with the other books, and I wish you the best of luck. And then for anyone new here, I do these videos on a daily basis, helping out people in our community. And if you want me to check your book as well, you can go to selfpublishingtitans.com/review and submit your book right here. And then I would love to help you as well. All right, so I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.